Well, look who it isn't again. It's the infamous Depop detective, the person that's going to come on your page on the internet that sells clothes and tell you what I like, but most importantly, tell you what I don't like. I've got 5 next culprits ready to go, and let's have a little look at what they're doing right, but most importantly, what they're doing wrong. And the first one we're going to go for is Here's Where. 17 sold, 9 feedback. The aesthetic here is looking hella corporate. These look like they have just been stuck on the infinite background, and I already know the sort of type of seller. See how that orange one there creates that blend? Burberry one, I can tell you didn't know where to place that one. It didn't need to go there though. This is really nice. Some of the items, it's a lot of stussy or stussy. How do we say in it? Are we saying stussy or stussy? I'm gonna say that it's stussy. Write down in the comments how you say it and let's see how many versions we can get. That's quite a cool t-shirt for a stussy tee. Artist collab, damages general wear with no significant flaws. Damage is another one of them words, right? Damages is like defects. It's kind of like we've got to think of ways to tell people what's wrong with it without telling them the words that make it sound like there's something worse. General wear with no significant flaws. See, seeing the word damages would lead you to believe that you was going to find something wrong with it and it might deter people. Very cool colored t-shirt. The way that the photos sit, I can tell that there's a lot of light being fired at it because I can just see for the way that the hanger has got a lot of reflected light on it. This could be auto flash. I believe that this may be auto flash as well. Here's where, because it looks like it's got that similar shadow from when you put the flash, the artificial light flash that you have on the camera to fire the shot. 5-star feedback, super easy to work with, so cute and arrived, great seller. Mate, you're doing all the right things, and 17 sales deep. Nice one. It's a shame that Depop don't have ways for the customers not to be able to see that, because I know that's a minor thing. It's obviously so you can understand where it is, but it's just random for everybody to see it. Call me the nitpicking king, because I'm going to find the smallest details. 5K refs. Oh, references. Worldwide from UK. Worldwide from UK. Worldwide from UK. Okay, so they're from the UK. Ship worldwide. There's ways that you can write this in different ways. You write it in however you want, by the way. I'm merely going to give you my perspective and take on it. I would almost use icons and flags for the worldwide shipping so that it was worldwide from UK. So that was very visually clear that what you meant is that you're in the UK and you ship out worldwide. Photos are really nice. One of the things that I've liked the most about what I've seen so far is this color complexion. There's a lot of time spent on refreshing them in the right way. It's obviously a bit of a nightmare when items sell, but I suppose that you can kind of cohesively organize that. See, that's where the Burbs shirt needed to go, around about here, in between those two. The hung up photography is one of those things where you're always gonna have the obstacle of the awkward, ugly looking hanger. I know some people that I've seen with brands have put like their own sticker on there, if I'm being totally honest. I know that's a way for people to know that it's you, but I also think that that's such a small detail that people probably won't really pay attention to. That t-shirt is really cool though. You've got a good selection of stock, and I think that the close-up photos you're taking are really good. There's a bit of a difference on the light in there. I can see that that looks a bit more of a yellowy tinge to that one. Very, very small details, but guess what? I am going to find them if they are there. So let's go back to the item. All good stuff, really. I would probably say, as a rule of thumb, maybe have a little look at a way of rewriting the description just so maybe the capital letters don't seem so aggressive. And the only other thing would be to have a little look at the word that you use here for damages. I know that damages might be a good word. Have a little look at some alternatives. Next, we're gonna go to way back when store. Okay, let's see what's in store with this one. 360 sales, 213 feedback. Okay, so way back when has got a good feedback ratio, more than 1 in every 2. So there's something that he's doing that's good. Let's see what the last few feedbacks were. Great service, quick shipment, great seller. Nice, you're doing the right things, and I'm just here to merely let you know if there's anything that I think you're missing. One thing I will say off the bat, and it's a complete aesthetic design that you're doing, and it is something that I've mentioned before, with the way that the background has different contrast. I think that this background actually looks really good. Maybe some colors you might be challenged on. I think maybe like whites and grays. Let's try and find some whites and grays on there just to see how they look. So the creams don't look too bad. That's the only one I can see is absorbed a little bit. What's this color on the bottom of it there? Is that like something spilled on the floor there? Just out of curiosity. All of these little features add different faults and different perks to it. The way that you've got slight movement in the texture is really nice. The placement of how the arms sit is really nice. The background to me is not a personal preference of choice. I think that you either have to go for one tone or it has to be a gradient change of tone. This looks like a painter's table or something, but I quite like it. I just think that there's a part of it that's a little bit noisy, but it's your perspective. Let's have a little look more so in terms of like the placement and the composition. The blue The blue looks the best on there. The blue looks nice. That looks cold, but it looks like a nice cold. The bottom bit is winding me up. What have you spilt there? I need to know what that is that's turned that green. Let's have a little look. Measurements, we're in there. I am the measurement master now, so I'm just gonna basically find them when I can. Condition 9 out of 10. If you've got time to basically create a metric system for like out of 10 what it is, then that's great. All I would say is you have to be consistent with what that out of 10 number means. Are you applying the same process for all? What actually makes a 10 out of 10 item? What makes it a 9 out of 10 versus a 10? What is that small incremental difference, and is it the same for all types of items and materials? That's just a curious question. Recommended size, medium to large, that's good. I always find that whole process must be very time consuming to do tag size and recommended size. If you've got a system in place for something like that, I imagine it'd be very simple. If you go by measurements and you use the measurements, then you know what the recommended size would sit in comparison. Somebody put a comment on one of the TikToks the other day and they were like, well, if it says large in the tag, then it's a large. But I think that what's important about what Way Back When has done here, and what others do as well, is the recommended size shows you that not all larges are the same, not all mediums are the same, and that you need to kind of understand what the recommended size is based on what the average base, medium and large measurements really are. Overall, you know the background, my opinion, a bit skew-if, but I think overall that's good. These are a little bit on the piss, on the slant, and it looks like there's a little bit of condensation on the camera just there because the navy isn't popping as much as the black there. You can take that bit what you want with that. The way that the trousers sit for me personally, I wouldn't shoot them like that. I think that that's almost the right way. The way that I would do is this way that you've got here, take them the other way. So if you fold the hem of the trousers down first and then do it that way. So rather than going that way, you go that way. Try it out and let me know. Personally, it's worked for me a lot better with when I've made sales. Might be different to you. Them bottoms are really cool. I'm not gonna really say change the background because that's something that I think has been your design for the whole time. And if it works for you, look at you. You've got 1 in every 2 feedback or higher. Some of the things I'd say is maybe the perspective of the composition. So just be careful of when items seem a little bit slanted. Do some little alternatives with the trousers. And the only other thing I would say is just from my standpoint, it'd be good to sort of see how you can either work with different ways that green sits in there. I think that that's a very, very small detail, but I noticed that pretty quickly. And for me, I'm just like, what is that? That would be my feedback on that. Really nice store, really nice garms. Suji Pat 10 is the next one with the guy from SpongeBob is maybe called Squidward. Maybe, I should know that. Is that common knowledge? Who knows, who cares? I already know what this guy's doing. He's working with high priced items, individual basis, and every single one is different. The trainer's on what looks like the top of a bed to the top that looks like on the top of another bed. It looks like you're going from bedroom to bedroom and using them as a base layer, so you know what works. And another bed. No, that's the same as that bed. Is that on an ironing board? Nope, that's on a table. That's really cool though. This is where it's very difficult, right? Because there's a rate where the price of an item, and the higher the price of an item, it can allow you the sort of flexibility to work with these avant-garde type sort of photos, because this is like a very bespoke, making me feel like this is an editorial photo to show almost like the preparation for like a rework job or something. But this is actually the dress for sale. I think that when you sell expensive items, you can enjoy exploring with different things. The intention you had with this photo and the composition really connected. Probably better as a first photo than that one, but then it starts to go down pretty quickly. That photo looks shocking and that photo doesn't look great. It looks like the sort of photo that's taken on one of them Fujifilm cameras, Portugal 2016 holiday photos. Do you know what I mean? Just like that weird flash and weird sort of light sitting in there. The concept and the angle and the perspective you've got definitely is sitting there in the right angle. And you're working with expensive items. That photo's clean. That looks cool. I think that with things like this, when you're not going for something that's consistent, you're going for a different perspective. You're going for creating individual aesthetics of individual items. There might be something even deeper rooted where it's set brands that have a certain aesthetic. For example, Diesel and Timberland, you may be able to work with more industrial pictures and industrial ways of taking photos. Whereas with like sports brands like Nike trainers, you might want to work in a more of a track and field type of thing. These are only guidelines based on what I've worked with and not actual things that you should do if you don't want to do it. It's just little points of thought processes that I think as I see it. Those shoes look mad, but that is just on the floor outside. Oh, a little bit of grass there. Are they worn on the bottom? I think it's good that you've got instant buy and saying that instant buy is on. When you're getting items that are very expensive, you have to add more information because you really have to help the customer understand everything about it. I think for you, that photo is clean. I'm kind of interested that you've left the hanger in on these photos. I think that you're better taking the hanger out. Look, you've got 2 different hangers there. I know that's a very minor thing, but that one's pink. Yeah, you've left it in on that one as well. Wow. It's a super nice knit. It looks very cool and I can appreciate it. However you say it, stussy, stoosy. Let's see how many stussy people go, ugh, bring it on. What is that? Is that on a pillow? Wild, that's the background for the other two. There's a lot going on here. What I would say with what you're doing, something that you could add or something that you could try and embellish is looking at ways to have individual aesthetics for set types of brands. So maybe work on a trainer aesthetic and a different bespoke trainer aesthetic. Look at how you can do women's wear, certain menswear. I think at this point, it looks like you're just taking an item and going with an inspiration. From somebody that comes from a creative standpoint at a first primary take on it, I think that that's the way that I would probably do it, to trial and error. But you are 130 sales in, and maybe consistency is something you want to work on. Depends. Are you looking to get more items to scale this up, or are you individually finding one item and doing this? That looks wild. That looks wild. And the PlayStation controller in there as well. Crazy, bro. Crazy. Yeah, I shouldn't have clicked on this one because everything was looking good. I was actually going to go light. I think you need a little bit of consistency with some of it, my dude. You've got the right intention. The brands and the stuff you're selling, it seems like you're pricing them accordingly. £300 for a stussy knit is absolutely barmy army, but I'm sure there's 101,000 people that are ready to spend 300 quid on it because that's what that brand is like. All in all, mate, wow. Work with cooler things like that. That looks sick. They look mad with them shoes as well. You know what? What you're doing with what you're doing is you're exploring different ways. I would say as long as you're keeping the measurements in there, work on some different brand associated aesthetics. So work on some way to take, like 2 or 3 different variations of a background for Nike trainers and see how that works for you. If not, keep it moving and grooving in the way you're doing, Squidward. Right, next up we've got Rare Rags. And this one looks like it's in Midnight Edition. Firstly, hate the background. It absorbs so much more than you realize. Look how dark that photo is. That is actually material on the back. I don't think that, hang on, let's understand the background a little bit more, Spen. Can you see the difference in that from the white to the black? You could almost do this. If you wanted to use 2 different backdrops, you could use the lighter colors on the black and the darker colors on the light, just to do that obvious contrast. Contrast is great. People enjoy the contrast, and when you see it in that perspective, it helps bring out the right colors in the right place. A black jacket on a black background is going to look the same as a white jacket on a white background. It's not really doing the best for it. Colors like reds and the blues and these awkward ones, I think you've actually executed them much better on the white. I think that's you're on the money putting them on the white. And the grays look great on the black. These ones look like they're slowly trying to escape off the shot again. The way the movement sits on the item looks beautiful, but the placement of it is not so beautiful. So I'd say try and get some centralization on this. Select size. You've got 2 of the same vintage item in the same condition. Fairs. 170 sold, 50 feedback. That's cool. And this is somebody from Denmark, I believe, Foul Raven. Foul Raven's on the money, man. Offers are welcome, especially on bundles, but please no lowballing. Careful, you've put spot. Rare Rags, I like the name. Text before buying, based in Germany for low price. I like that text before buying. It almost creates that slightly more personalized feel. Someone might message you and go, hey, what's your number so I can text you a question? And then you go, oh, I just meant message. Minor things, but people on the internet are a bit daft sometimes. So you have to just make sure you're saying it in a way that everybody knows, if you know what I mean. Right, that is looking nice. I like the movements that you've got there. I think that's really good. No. Please rely on the dimensions finally. That's an interesting way of saying it. The condition you've put there is wild. Condition you've actually put out of 10 stars. That's mad. Maybe just work on a number out of 10. Estimated age, 90 is great. That's so good. Follow Rare Rags on Instagram for exclusive. You've got some good information in here. You could probably put the measurements near the top and the offers thing at the bottom because you want to make it clear that you're trying to prioritize the sale rather than prioritize your preference. Because it's your preference not to get lowballs, but it's their preference to actually get measurements. So hierarchy, the list of it in terms of that. I think that this store is great. I think that the products you've got are really good. I think that the sort of approach you've had with the communication through the narrative is really nice. I quite like the text before buying, even if albeit it might be a bit confusing for people. I would just say work on different contrasts for the different backgrounds. If you're going to use a black background, don't shoot navies and dark colors on there because it looks daft. Maybe just work on contrasting them against with the white. The white background and the ways that you've got the photos as well, they're flat lays and they're hung up. I'd like to see what the black items look like flat laid without the hanger, just to see how that perspective might change. Really good store, really good sort of process. And also another thing, mindful on the crop, mindful on the placement. This is all the way up the top, quite far away from the bottom. They would be what I'd consider with that. Right, the last and not least is Cos Bros Thrift. My boy going for that full fit. Can I buy the whole lot of that? Hanes men's white and red t-shirt. Okay, that is cool, but that could be confusing. I guess if people are looking through things based on t-shirts, I know what you're saying to me right now behind the screen. You're going, this guy's chatting absolute wasabi. If you're looking for t-shirts and this comes up, you're gonna know that you're buying the t-shirt and you're gonna ignore the outfit. But what my point of preference is saying, this is a great editorial photo. This is like the same thing I used to do with models, where say I was selling a t-shirt and we used to start accessorizing it, and then the first photo they'd be having a jacket, they'd have a hat, they'd have all this, and then the next shot would be just them wearing the t-shirt. And people honestly still message them when, what am I buying? What am I buying? Just be mindful of that when you use this as the first photo, it's great that you're doing that, but it might not be the best one to use for the first image. Although it's gonna catch more people's attention to click it, so maybe A/B test it. See if you can compare the percentage impression rate or click-through rate versus having it as a first photo or not. Like try it on like a week A/B test. I mean, it's an individual product, you might not want to put that much time into it. And it's the baseline of your aesthetics, because this is what you need to do. Take 10 of these flat laid items, right? Look at the impression rate and the click-through rate. Work out the percentage of how many people have clicked it versus how many people have seen it. Work out that percentage. Take 5 at random and make them a different photo at the front. Check them back in a week to 2 weeks after the boost and the refreshing, and look if there's any change to the impressions, because that will allow you to know whether your aesthetic is speaking for itself and hitting the right people to click it, or if you are leaving money off the table by not being more accurate and being exact with what it is you're actually selling. Because here could be anything, dude, and when you can't see the title on your page, I have no idea what's for sale, but now I know that it's the top. I'm just saying, challenge the narrative, but also be aware of that. The outfits you got, this is sick. So many flat laid photos, really cool. You can tell that you really like spending time and effort into the concept of what you're doing. 1,300 sold and 200 feedback. Not the best ratio there, but you still got 200 feedback. Awesome customer service and same day shipping for me. Fast shipping, and the shirt looks even better than the picture. Wow, that's exactly the sort of feedback you want. Hey, your photo was great, but the item's even better than what you made it look like. The concept here you've got is great. USP that you've got, I can't even fault it. But what I want to challenge is your perspective on seeing by an A/B test of taking a few of them and just having this as the first image, making this clean and having it as the first image. How does that change the click-through rate? Because once somebody clicks it, it doesn't mean that they're going to definitely buy, but if you improve the click-through rate by doing a different process, even for a few items or specific ones, then you're improving the chance of a sale. And I'm assuming that's the aim of the game with why people are asking me to look at their Depop stores. Yeah, measurements laid flat, really nice. Offers are encouraged and accepted. That's nice. It's nice to see that people say that. One thing I would try and make clear of, have the offers point in your actual description, just so that people know, like, offers are accepted, man, just send them through. Next day shipping, no refunds or returns, discounted shipping on bundles, everything washed before sending out. Nice, everything washed before sending out. Do you wash it all before you shoot it? Because that would be an interesting question. Honestly, this one's really cool, and I think that the whole concept is super nice. All I would just say is, do me a favor, A/B test maybe 2 or 3 random items in the background with just individual ones at the front, or let me know if you've done that already, because I'm curious. When you do A/B tests, you know exactly what works better than what doesn't, and it just allows you to move forward in that direction. Like, who knows? Like, this could be the jeans for sale. One of them's got to be the jeans, because you've got loads of different pants. Try that out and let me know. And as always, guys, I flipping appreciate you all for letting me have a look at your Depops. Remember, don't be a stranger. There is no danger. Drop your Vinted, your Etsy, your eBay, your Depop, your own sites, your Shopifys, wherever you sell on. Even if you sell on a live streaming platform, send me something that I can review that you're doing, and I will let you know personally from the 12 years experience I've got what I like and what I don't like. And remember, you don't have to listen to me. I'm just a guy with glasses on the internet talking to you about your store or potentially your future store. And I appreciate you all as always for letting me have a look at your stores. In a bit.